Here's more wrestling news for February 23rd, 2023, and we're starting today with Cody Rhodes, and it's been 1 year, 1 week, and 1 day since he shockingly left AEW, but the American Nightmare did not depart the promotion alone. Brandi Rhodes also left AEW at the time of her husband, and while Cody has since returned to WWE, there's been no sighting of his other half on TV. During this week's Raw, Paul Heyman did make a reference to Brandi, though didn't mention her by name, leaving some to wonder whether the former AEW chief brand officer will be showing up. Speaking on his drive-thru podcast, Jim Cornette shared his take on the Brandi situation and said the WWE may bring Brandi in to gather support for the family man Cody, but this could seriously backfire. Cornette suggested that given how hostile fans were to Brandi in AEW, bringing her in as Rhodes' manager could actually garner support for Roman Reigns, which is the last thing WWE needs right now. After years of receiving poor responses from the AEW faithful, Cody Rhodes has now been embraced by WWE fans as a babyface, but WWE is having to tread very carefully to not ruin the momentum the American Nightmare currently has. Since joining AEW, Paul Wight has had a handful of matches for the promotion, with his most recent bout coming in March of last year. In August, Wight underwent knee replacement surgery, brought on by both his size and his decades in the ring, and we've now learned more about what happened after the operation. Speaking to Metro UK, Wight said that after the surgery, he spent close to 3 months using a wheelchair to get around, stating, "Well, I spent 11 weeks in a wheelchair because I was waiting for them to build the implant for my knee because of my size. I had crushed all the bone in the knee, I was bleeding into my shin. So I've got a good pain tolerance, but when I say I rode the tire down to the rim, that's exactly what I did. But luckily, I still have all my ligaments in that knee, everything's good there. It's a nice, brand new titanium joint, so it's good for 35 years. So I could parachute if I want to. Not that I'll ever jump out of an airplane. We all saw the movie Operation Dumbo Drop. I don't think that's me. We're good." Whilst in the chair, Wight continued to provide commentary for AEW Dark Elevation, a role he has continued to do to this day. Wight recently said that he plans on getting back in the ring soon when he is fully healed, and it remains to be seen who will take on the former WWE World Champion once he is 100% again. Over to Impact Wrestling now, and while the promotion may not be the only competitor to WWE anymore, they are always on the lookout for interesting talent to bring in. This weekend, Impact will host their TV tapings following this Friday's No Surrender special, and will feature 2 names WWE fans may recognize. It's been confirmed that Shane Haste, aka Shane Thorne, will take on Speedball Mike Bailey in a match that'll take place on Saturday night. The other notable match will see Impact World Champion Josh Alexander in action, as he'll be taking on ex-WWE alum and New Japan star Kenta. Kenta, formerly known as Hideo Itami, signed with WWE in 2014 and was part of some memorable NXT storylines, but was never considered a top star in the Gold brand and left after a short stint. Now the New Japan star will be walking through the Forbidden Door into Impact Wrestling at what will no doubt be a highly entertaining taping for the fans in attendance. It was last month that Mercedes Mone made her debut for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and this month has seen the former Sasha Banks become the second ever IWGP Women's Champion. Clearly, success has come naturally for the former Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, who also has a growing acting career, and now Mone has shared her plans for the future. Speaking on the Under the Ring podcast, Mone spoke about her travels after the May 2022 WWE walkout and said that she plans on opening up her own wrestling school. The New Japan star said her travels allowed her to learn from the best trainers and wrestlers from all different generations around the world and hopes to pass on those skills to the next generation of wrestlers. Mone added that wrestling is a universal language that surpasses nationalities and spoke about learning from luchadors in Mexico and learning the flow of a match in Japan. Mercedes Mone's lucrative deal with New Japan means she will only work a handful of matches a year for the promotion, giving her plenty of free time to pursue other projects, so we may be seeing a Mone wrestling school sooner than you think. Last month, WWE hosted their Raw is 30 special, celebrating 3 decades of the Red brand on TV. In one of the more hilarious moments of the show, Kurt Angle joined D-Generation X and was later confronted by Imperium, setting up a 6-man tag that saw the Europeans face Seth Rollins and the Street Profits. That tag match was confirmed by the master of tag team match announcements, Teddy Long, and on the latest edition of the Wrestling Time Machine, Long spoke about his experiences backstage. Had the chance to meet Kurt Angle at Raw 30, and he was part of the segment I was in, and he was old school. Nobody came up and said a word but Kurt. He was old school. When we came back, we always thank each other. Hey man, thank you for the time. But nobody said that to me but Kurt Angle. That's what we have no more. It's a shame that no one came up to Teddy to thank him or even speak with him after the segment, as this is the kind of respect one would expect in a wrestling locker room. Since retiring from the ring in 2019, Kurt has continued to make a handful of appearances a year for WWE, even after he was released in April 2020. But it is what happened backstage at Raw 30 that meant a lot to Teddy Long. There's no denying that Brock Lesnar is one of the most successful WWE superstars in history, with multiple WWE championships and Universal Championships to his name. One of 3 men to win the Money in the Bank, King of the Ring, and the Royal Rumble, Brock is a 2-time winner of the Rumble and has achieved all this despite having a disability. It's been disclosed that Lesnar has red-green color blindness, meaning he struggles to distinguish between the 2 shades and fails to see them in a way people with unimpeded color perception do. It was this color blindness that would prevent Brock from getting his dream job in his younger years of working on the front lines in the Army National Guard, and he would instead be assigned to a desk job, though discharged after failing a typing test. This disability didn't prevent Brock from entering the world of professional wrestling and later becoming a star in the UFC, and his story goes to show how someone can still achieve despite a serious obstacle. Now, Alexa Bliss is used to being in the public eye and, like billions of people across the globe, shares some of her life on social media. Given that Bliss is a WWE superstar, some believe that her social media posts should maintain kayfabe, but the former women's champion simply does not care. Recently, The Undertaker voiced his displeasure about wrestlers breaking kayfabe online, saying that it makes it difficult for him to watch WWE programming, and questioned how someone can be a certain way on TV and a completely different person online. When a fan responded to Ringside News' coverage of this story, adding that breaking kayfabe online is why I hate Alexa Bliss, the fan earned a response from the Raw superstar, who said, "Get in line, babe." Bliss has undergone several dramatic character changes in recent years, and most recently has been very conflicted and is in some bizarre angle where she's being targeted by Uncle Howdy. On social media, though, Alexa Bliss is a happy and excited young woman with a distinct love for coffee and Disney, and she wouldn't have it any other way. After divorcing with his wife Lisa in March 2022, Matt Riddle has been dating adult film actress Misha Montana, and the two have been inseparable ever since. Unfortunately for the couple, their relationship has come under much scrutiny by fans who believe that Riddle is harming his WWE career with his choice of partner and setting a bad example to his children. During an appearance on the Cheap Heat Productions podcast, Montana spoke about her relationship with the Raw superstar and how it's changed her life, and the hostility from fans. I was just shocked to watch it. I'm like, what's going on? You know, and people don't understand too, this is our life. I mean, being just thrown across every single headline and being dragged around the internet, and luckily, I've always been thick-skinned for the most part, but it's hard not to be upset by something, especially that's so invasive. I've never experienced that level of harassment that was so one constant and just able to get into your life so deeply, because they were able to get numbers and addresses and things that it just it reached a limit where it was just so vile and so toxic. It impacted my career. People in adult had opinions about it and then therefore had opinions about me. Part of the reason why I'm not with XPW is because of this situation. It's a lot, so my life dramatically changed. Riddle hasn't been seen on WWE TV in months due to a violation of the wellness policy, which reportedly resulted in Matt doing a stint in rehab, which has since ended. While Riddle was advertised locally for the February 13th Raw, he didn't appear, and with reports of WWE having no plans for him at WrestleMania, it remains to be seen when he will be back on TV. And we're ending today with The Undertaker, who for 3 decades dedicated his body to pro wrestling and always tried to keep up kayfabe wherever he went. Retiring at Survivor Series 2020, the same event he had debuted at 3 decades earlier, the Phenom now regularly appears out of character, but the transition has been tough. While speaking on Hawk vs. Wolf, The Undertaker talked about transitioning from an in-ring competitor into a life of retirement and went as far as to call his transition horrible. "It's been a horrible transition. I don't know that I'll ever find a passion like I did for actually being in the ring. I'm doing the one-man show, and I'm enjoying that, and it's new to me, so I can pour myself into it again, but I don't know if I'll ever have that passion that wrestling gave to me. I watch the product, and I'm like, damn, I would have done that differently." The Undertaker most recently appeared for WWE on the Raw is 30 anniversary event, and the man who won the main event match on the very first Raw had an in-ring segment with Bray Wyatt. While The Undertaker was right to end his in-ring career when he did, as his matches in the final years before retiring hadn't been up to his high caliber, the past few years haven't been easy, as the Phenom will always be a professional wrestler at heart.